Have you ever wondered why you keep dating the same type of wrong person? Or why the second someone gets close to you, part of you wants to run? It's not bad luck. It's not a coincidence. There's a blueprint running quietly in the background of your brain, and it was installed before you could even talk. This blueprint comes from something called attachment theory. A psychiatrist named John Bowlby discovered it decades ago, and what he found was simple but powerful. The way your very first caregiver treated you became the template your brain uses to judge every relationship that comes after. Not because that person was good or bad. It's about whether they were consistent, whether you could count on them. And here's the part most people never think about. Your brain didn't just learn, my parent loves me, or my parent doesn't love me. It learned something much bigger. It decided whether you are worth loving. It decided whether other people can be trusted. And it decided whether closeness itself is safe or dangerous. That decision became one of 4 blueprints. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one has been quietly steering your love life. Let's start with the one everyone wishes they had, secure attachment. This happens when a caregiver responds to a child's needs consistently. The child learns something simple. I am trustworthy. You are trustworthy. Connection is safe. As adults, secure people can ask for help without shame. They don't spiral when a partner needs space. They can sit in conflict without assuming the relationship is over. Here's the twist though. Only about half of adults actually land here. That means if you're securely attached, you are not the normal one. You are extremely lucky to be part of this group. And for the other half of us, things get a lot more complicated. Let's talk about anxious attachment. This forms when a caregiver is inconsistent. Maybe they were present sometimes and distracted or overwhelmed other times. The child's brain never learns whether love is reliable, so it stays on high alert, always scanning for signs of abandonment. You know this pattern if you've ever reread a text 5 times looking for hidden meaning, or refreshed your messages waiting for a reply that feels like it's taking forever. That panic is not really about the text, it's the adult echo of a baby who never knew for sure if their caregiver was coming back. Research has found that anxious attachment roughly doubles a person's risk of depression, and people with this style report feeling chronically lonely far more often than secure people do, even though they crave closeness the most out of anyone. Here's the cruel twist. The person an anxious attacher is most drawn to is often the worst possible match for them, which brings us to the opposite style entirely. But before we continue, if you're finding this helpful, consider subscribing. I make videos that break down relationship psychology into practical advice you can actually use, whether you're dating, in a long-term relationship, going through a breakup, or just trying to better understand people. If that's your kind of content, I'd love to have you here. Avoidance attachment. This one forms when a caregiver dismisses a child's needs, not out of cruelty, but because they don't respond with warmth or care. The child learns to survive alone. I am trustworthy, nobody else is, and attachment itself is not something I need. This is not coldness, it's protection. An avoidant person's nervous system learned early that closeness leads to disappointment, so it built walls to prevent that from happening again. In adult relationships, this can look like pulling away right when things start going well, calling a partner needy for asking completely normal questions, preferring short flings over anything that asks for real commitment. And here's why anxious and avoidant people are so often pulled toward each other. The anxious person chases closeness, which confirms the avoidant person's fear of being trapped. The avoidant person pulls away, which confirms the anxious person's fear of being abandoned. Each one accidentally proves the other one's deepest fear correct. And for some reason, these kinds of people are the ones that get together. At least those 2 styles are consistent, even if they're painful. The 4th style doesn't even get that. Disorganized attachment forms when the caregiver is a source of both comfort and fear. Maybe they were frightening, unpredictable, or even abusive, so the child faces an impossible problem. The person they need to run to for safety is the same person they need to run from. There is no strategy that works, so the brain never builds one. As adults, this can look like being clingy one moment and completely shut down the next, wanting love intensely and fearing it just as intensely, sometimes within the same hour. People with this attachment style often struggle to trust themselves as much as they struggle to trust others, and research links this pattern to higher rates of turning toward unhealthy coping methods when emotions become too overwhelming to hold. This isn't a character flaw, it's a nervous system that never got the chance to learn what safety feels like. So, which one of these has been quietly steering your relationships? Ask yourself 3 questions right now. Do you believe you're worth loving even without a partner? Do you believe other people can actually be trusted with your needs? And do you believe closeness itself is safe, or does part of you experience it as a threat? Sit with those for a second. Your honest answers say more about your patterns than any label ever could. Now, here's the part that actually matters most. Can you change your attachment style? Yes, psychologists call this earned secure attachment. Being in a steady relationship with a secure partner or simply doing consistent inner work on your own can slowly rewire the blueprint you were handed as a child. One simple tool you can start using today is naming the pattern the second it shows up. When panic hits after a slow text back, say to yourself, "This is my anxious brain talking, not the truth." When you feel the urge to pull away the moment things get close, say, "This is my old protection response, not a fact about this person." Naming it in the moment interrupts the automatic reaction and gives you a split second to choose differently. You didn't choose your first blueprint. None of us did. It was built for you before you had any say in the matter. But here's the truth that changes everything. You get to choose whether you keep building on it. You weren't born insecure. You were trained. And anything that was trained can be retrained. If you saw yourself in one of these styles today, tell me which one in the comments. Understanding this pattern is the first step to finally breaking it.